My name is Martha Vasquez. I am the news anchor at KVOA-TV, the NBC affiliate in Tucson, Arizona. I anchor the 4 o'clock newscast and the 6 o'clock newscast. I've been here at Channel 4 for 26 years, 33 years altogether in the Tucson market. I was born here in Tucson. My parents were born and raised here in Tucson. My grandparents were born and raised here in Tucson. In fact, they became citizens of the United States when the Gadsden Purchase happened and the United States bought from Mexico this part of the United States, the Southwest. So originally my parents lived in Mexico, which is now Arizona. What a lot of people may not know about Tucson is that the Presidio, the actual city of Tucson, was established in 1775, and this August our city is going to be 225 years old. And it was established, it's a combination of Native American peoples, Spanish peoples, Mexican peoples, Anglos, who all came together in this desert valley to form a city. Tucson is a really beautiful city, and it's we all say that it's like a small town, even though it really is a big town, because now Tucson, the population of Tucson has reached, including the county areas, has reached over 1 million people. So Tucson is a big city, and it's ringed by mountains all the way around, and we have beautiful weather during the winter time. The summers, not so good. Very, very hot here, but if you can take the heat, you can make it here. Again, Tucson is made up mostly, I think the population breakdown is about 60% Anglo and about 33% Hispanic, and the rest is comprised by African Americans, Asians, Native Americans, and so forth.
to believe that he's gone astray. At times he even forgets my name. He calls me Diane, and that's a shame. That name is a friend that I've known for years. I can't believe she's caused my fears. But I'm going to her house, hide beneath the bed. I hope I don't hear those things I dread. I said, I got a feeling that somebody's trying to steal my man. I got a feeling that somebody's trying to steal my man. Strange things are happening, things that I just can't understand. Who could it be? I wish I knew. Who could it be? It's trying to steal my man from me. Oh, thank you.
If you go to any American city, undoubtedly you will find a zoo, place where people can go to see all kinds of animals. Tucson has a zoo, but what makes Tucson unique is that we also have the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum. That's a living museum of only species that you can find in the Sonoran Desert. And these are animals that are, you can see them in their natural setting, in the areas they live in the places they live in. So the Desert Museum is a place where you can go, you can hold animals. There's a lot of nature exhibits that allow for educational experiences. You can see snakes there and bighorn sheep and all the animals that occupy the Sonoran Desert. Now, Old Tucson is an old movie set. It was actually used quite a bit in the 1950s and 60s to film westerns that were very popular at that time. It was just a big Hollywood movie set. Lots of movies were made there. But they had a fire at Old Tucson back in, I believe it was, if not the late 80s, early 90s, that almost destroyed the entire movie set. But it's a place to go to really feel what it's like to live in the Old West. You get an idea, the locomotive train and all the old buildings, what it might have been like to live in the Old West. They're starting to use it again as a movie set. Some movies are being made out there, but not quite like it was in its heyday in the 50s and 60s. One of the most amazing things about the Sonoran Desert, which is the desert that we live in here in Tucson, Arizona, are those big, beautiful saguaro cactuses. They can be so tall, and a little one takes years to mature and grow into a big saguaro cactus. In fact, some of those really big ones that you see around the city are 200 to 300 years old. And you know, they're just so perfect for the desert because they have learned to survive in this very dry climate, because when it rains, the few times it rains here in the desert, they soak up all the moisture and then they hold it inside so that when those drought times come, they're able to live because they're living on the water that they've collected the whole time they've been standing. But they're beautiful. They produce beautiful fruit that is actually harvested by Native Americans, and the fruit is at the top of the saguaro, and they knock it down with a pole, and then they boil it and they remove all the seeds, and they make jelly out of it, and they make syrup out of it, prickly pear jelly, prickly pear syrup, a red syrup. It's delicious. And the flowers come out in about May. The top of the saguaro cactus gets its crown of flowers about May when it's really hot. But they're a symbol of the Southwest and probably one of the most magnificent plants in our desert landscape.
I'll take over.
Okay.
I got you this time. Hey, what? Another tequila monster. It's pronounced Gila monster, you snowbird.